Hello, hello. Good time of day, everyone. So, yeah, I don't usually stream at this time, and I have been inundated earlier today for odd reasons, so I'm not sure how long this will go, because I am a bit tired. But, without further ado, hit the magic button. We're back here. So, there we go. What we currently have going on in, This still running? This still running. Let's make it slightly bigger for you guys. What we currently have going on is, we can actually walk around. It's clearly the Switch mouse. I'd actually have to check to see if the Switch mouse has... Okay, I have to look now. Switch to mouse. Does that have a middle click wheel? I don't think... Nope, it looks like it doesn't. The Switch mice only have left and right clicks. As expected of Nintendo. Yeah, the Switch 2 has mouse mode. It uses actually the Joy-Cons because they have like infrared detectors, so you can put it down on the table and use the Joy-Cons, I believe. You have to turn them sideways so you lose all your like functionality, but you get a mouse. So anyways, back to what we currently have. We have doors that go places. And we could set them up to send you to any, Well, I think it doesn't teleport multiple floors right now. No, like I can't do that. But... we took forever because I did bad math in setting these up originally. By bad math, I mean like, we weren't getting the side ones here because I was checking for the projection as if you were looking straight on. And then it got weird in some things, but as it stands, we have working dungeon crawler in a 3x3 grid in front of you. That is currently what we have. Now then, I'm going to use text because I don't want to spend 20 minutes doing stuff. Whoops. What's next? So things that definitely need to be in here is inventory, more enemies, more levels. No 5x5. We're going to expand it a little bit, but given our system, we should be able to expand it easily. Boss tiles. Actual combat. Because right now, we don't even actually technically have a combat screen. I just have it rigged so that you do attack when you are in combat mode, which is completely different than an actual combat system. Also on the combat, because I just want to be different, and this is going to be a solo one-player RPG thing. I think basic... Okay. My philosophy when it comes to RPGs is that each character should be boring if they're just the only character in the party. Like the old RPG systems, the good old 8/16 or 12 bits, wherever you're going with. You literally had the fighter, and you're fine having the fighter, because the fighter carried battles and didn't die. But playing as the fighter would be mind-numbing. The wizard was pretty good at clearing some battles, but had no endurance, and unless you power leveled the game, wouldn't get far. And the thief was worthless. The cleric was also mostly worthless, but I've seen enough Final Fantasy 1 solo runs to know technically you could play all of them as a solo thing, and it's always boring as shit. So I've been thinking on this a little bit, and there's only one game off the top of my head, without looking possibly into Ultima, because I think Ultima might have been single player parties, which is Dragon Quest, the original one. And that only worked because you basically could do anything. You were, I think it later basically became the hero class. I've seen basically a lot. So the hero class got the standard attack spells, standard heal spells, whatever, and you fought one enemy at a time. So the way that game worked was that you had to figure out if you're dying in the next hit or two, and continue on from there. Is that the most fun system? Could revive it and see, but I don't think I'll be doing that. Now then, in more recent time, there has been, and is technically going to be, Fate Extra, which I'm sure there's a few other games that did it, but added rock, paper, scissors to it. Now, it was like 3 rounds of guess rock, paper, scissors, but let's not go that far. So I have a stupid, terrible idea, but it's my game and I'm wasting my time on it anyways, where we will go with the Japanese standard of end all be all and have rock, paper, scissors in. So we will have normal attack, defensive or slash quick. I guess quick sounds better. Attack and heavy attack. Whoops. Now I might need to screw with this a bit more, but these are the standard ones. I was thinking like defensive attack, but that gets into things. Maybe I could make it defensive attack. Maybe I could expand it and like it... Oh wait, no, this is backwards. You know what? My game. I like... It might be able to... Heavy attack breaks defensive attack breaks normal attack breaks heavy attack. Something like that. It's always silly and nonsensical in a way. But my thought is, the system at its base, you get the 3 attacks, and the enemy will have a sprite. Like, this sounds absolutely stupid on paper, but it can get into different things where, you know, like you have... You know what? You know what? I can't even open recent because of stuff. But... Where are you? There you are. Is this the same one? Let me just double check. Because I know I load him going in. Nope, that is not him. That is my basic art sprite that I've left in there. Okay, let me hunt around. That is enemy. Do I have an entity here? Okay, NPC sheet. Here we go. There we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to take a look in here and see how big I have these sprites. This is an absolute bloat, but I'm not making a million enemies anyways. So, your sizes are... What's Glyph? 16? That doesn't seem right. Oh, wait, I'm not using this render. That's why. Also, let me squish this down. Whoops. Get up here. There you go. Render background. Dungeon. Render enemy. Yes, please tell me party info so I can not see it. 80 by 80. Cool. Okay, I guess it's already set in this one. So this, I will say, is wildcard slime. Let's delete this. So this is a slime that looks like you don't know what it's going to do. Ooh, how scary. There we go. I'm just going to wiggle this a little bit. Behold programmer art. Now then, this can be a just normal attack. Truly the pinnacle of pixel art. This can be defensive, you know how I'm going to display that. Now, this seems like an absolute terrible idea, and it kind of is. Because won't the player know exactly what the enemy is doing and he can counter it? Yes, definitely at the beginning. Otherwise, the player's going to get nowhere and just get tabled fast. And then heavy attack. In which case, we will flip this. And make a giant pseudopod come out of them. If I were actually arting, I'd like make it look like a fist or something. So, we got the basic of that set up. I'm going to export it right onto NPC sheet. Yep, overwrite that sucker. And now, trying to see where I save all the entity crap. I think at top level I have all my actions set up, because that's always what I do. Keep. Okay, I think it is going to Entity 1. Okay, so we're just going off straight up standard entities, which I have a list of, even though the other stuff isn't exactly what it is. Now then. Int sprite offset. Int now I guess we can just call it, yeah, sprite offset. And we'll use that as shorthand for its mode. Now back over here. close you for a second. I want to bring this into its own thing. Room. Since this is an utter complete mess of hard-coded, kinda works. There we go. Now this is clean. I can look into it in 1 second to figure out what the heck's going on. Now let's go over here. SDL rect render enemy square. And you can be 0, 0, 80, 80. And what we're going to do here, set up render square, is that we're first going to set .x equal .x plus .offset times .width. I think it was sprite offset. Yeah, there we go. And .y. Whoops. I'm going to copy this one over because all we need to do is just transfer the width and height and everything will be fine. Now, what does this do that's terrible to my code? Not much at the second. Where it starts getting terrible is on the sprite sheet, because now the sprite sheet requires all enemies to be in the same line. So that's going to get a bit dumb. Towards like the left or right side. On this side, it's just kind of like, oh, look at this. Now let's see if this explodes. Oh, there we go. Okay, what? Let me clear this out. Okay, so once again, I am the murderer, the investigator. Thank you. Okay, I was supposed to just put 0 there. Okay, terrifying, it compiled on the first thing. Now, this shouldn't do much because the enemy is still there. We just changed the texture going on, so that's fine. Now we need an initializer for the enemy. Which I'm going to put in... this can live in entity. Let me see what's going on for top level to see how I am spawning this sucker into existence. Okay, I'm doing this. Instead, what I'm going to do is get new entity by floor. And current floor is that. We're going to just cut the... no, we can just steal this for now. Remember, this is all based off a roguelike engine that I made. So it has a few hiccups in there of it wanting to pretend it's a roguelike engine. It's just how I roll, so it has an X and Y for enemies. Might be useful in later things, but right now... What did I call that? I can't spell. That's what I call it. Int get new entity by floor. Int floor. Right now we're not going to do anything. I have it by floor because it'd be fun if I could spawn out of, like 1 out of 10 you might get something from higher or lower level. Just to keep things interesting. Anyways. Int entity ID equals that, because we already have this set up of setting the next thing up and then returns its ID. Now then, as a good test, entity list in entity index, we can just do rand modify for its sprite offset. Oh wait, there we go. And then return entity ID. Everything should function as it did before. Whether it explodes or not, who the heck knows? We hit the magic button. Do I seed the RNG? Do I seed the RNG? I don't think I seed the RNG. I'm pretty sure I don't seed the RNG. Let me just make sure. And that's just going to give me a quick console because I can't be bothered to make things. Oh, wait, you're not rolled. That first one isn't rolled. Yeah, okay, it's fine. That very first one, let me go into... Either in main loop or something else, I'm setting up something. It's not rolled because I just automatically set the player entity right here, or the enemy entity. Yeah, no, it's hard-coded so that it does that. Okay, that's been fixed. We're not in combat. Good, good. Okay. That was... Okay, that's rolling a different one. And I'm pretty sure that starts up. I'm just going to double check because I should have... Yeah, there we go. We're seeding the RNG there. As always, computers are deterministic monsters and cannot actually properly do RNG without an outside source. There is usually... going off time is the easiest because it's really hard to replicate time. By human standards, I mean, machines can do it if you know what's going on. Off sound... or alpha ambient sound, or like Cloudflare and a couple others do, lava lamps. Lava lamps keep the cryptographic heart of the internet working. So if all the lava lamps go away, parts of the internet die. Okay, and there's the heavy attack one. The other one is also using a a radioactive material and counting, you know, decay from it. That isn't widely used. It also gives the Gaussian curve, I believe. Which may or may not be the one you want. Now, that I have this set up, I am going to make a new file. How about you? One second, let me just see if that compiles right. Oop. Okay, everything's fine. So let's make it an attack header. Yeah, skills. Yeah, skill. Skills such as... Now here's where it gets tricky in the architecture of this. So what I really want to do is make an enum. Combat skill. And call it good. What that also means is that technically we also need to have enum sorry, I'm thinking here. Let me see if I can actually do this properly. I need to do a bit of Googling. Enum C++ enum struct. Because you can set numbers to enums. I think enums might always be set as integers. I might be wrong though. Because if I could make an enum that has sorry, an enum that can have structs. It doesn't look like it. Yeah, I think I'm right on that. So, huma, enum, skill type classless. Is it comma or semicolon? Skill type no standard attack. Skill type defensive. Skill type power attack. And skill type magic for reasons. We have this. And now we can have struct skill or combat skill standard. First off, oh, it's been so long since I did this. There we go. Get over here. Now we can use strings. Standard string name int base power. This is like setting up a Pokemon move. Int accuracy. This is the one where I have to semicolon it. Because, you know, making things actually follow a similar standard when you set them up is beyond this language. Int SP cost. We'll call it special points. Now the one thing well, I guess if it's a struct, I will always be able to reference the original one. Because it would be like the same location of memory and all that. So if I'm passing around, as long as I don't modify it, it should be fine. But I think things can modify it, so we're getting into the fun stuff there. Though I think structs can compare across each other fine. Maybe, kinda, sorta. That's cost, not cost. And then also we're going to have in here skill type. Skill type. Wow. That's not going to get confusing at all. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should have in here. I guess I could have plagues. Sure. I should probably group them next to the other. One thing about C++, you want to group your... Would they just be called variables? Properties? I think it's properties. Next to each other of the same type because of the way it packs it. So, like, if there's a boolean in the middle of this, it'd have to pack a bunch of useless zeros before the next integer, ignoring that on the back end it's still going to keep a boolean as an integer, but with weird things like my own little type here, it's going to be doing stuff. Though I think this is technically an int still. Anyways. Skill property flag, and I'll figure those out later. What does it mean? Combat skill. Normal attack equal... Well, actually, I can do this because it's fun. Normal attack. Let's go with 10. 10's a good base power. We could screw around with it later. One second. There we go. Normal attack, accuracy of 95. Let's just... I should put it as 100, but let's make this fun. Skill cost 0. We got 0 for its flags. Its skill type is skill type standard attack. Bada booey. Oh, yeah, of course you do. There you go. And cautious attack. We just literally copy this junk across. Now, why aren't they exactly the same values? Because it's boring. This could be 5. This can give us 100. Skill type defensive attack. But doesn't that mean there's a most effective one to pick? Usually, yes. This is a single player game. Let it happen. There's nothing more boring than a game where you see that none of your choices matter, and you just look to the context of, I do basic thing, I get basic result. But didn't you say rock, paper, scissors? Yes. There's our 3. So we can always call upon this and set this to be based off of the enemy phase, which may be different for some enemies. So right now, the blob has 0, which is just do whatever, and then the other 3 are telegraphed. So when you play through this, the idea is, I think it's going to do a power attack. The thing I should do is probably a cautious attack, because I will automatically counter its power attack. But I need to do more damage to defeat it. Or it's doing a normal attack, or sorry, it's doing a buster attack, but I could do a normal attack to possibly defeat it, or I could do a cautious attack and take a bunch more damage, but ensure that I actually hit back against it and like take it down to a speed roll or something. A little bit of gambling game, though I think in like a Fate Extra it just nullified the enemy attack. This is slightly on the Pokemon scale, where you get your attacks off, it's just yours is a lot better. Okay, anyways, so we have this set up. I'm going to have a bunch of stuff down here called... Actually, it needs to be at the top. Actually, let's put it under constant because everything goes here. So we have player XY in here somewhere. There we go. And let's do the terrible thing and have circular inclusion. If it was an enum, I could just include it. I could just set it up as an int. But anyways, include... My god, where did it go? Skill. That's what I call it. Are you happy with that? Did I spell include wrong? There we go. No, just take me to the line. Why are you yelling? Does it compile? Okay, it compiles. Cool. Why it's a bit weird is that construction header includes skill. Skill includes instruction header. But program once means it isn't like going to be set in an infinite loop. You can set up sub loops where they can't compile. Usually I try to avoid that. What did I close? Doesn't matter. Oh, controller, that's what it is. Okay. Anyways. Down here. Make sure I got the name right. Combat player combat skill. We're going to just set that to nothing. Enemy combat skill. And just set that to nothing. Happy? Happy. Cool. Technically, this means that the thing will run even though you don't have anything set up. It'll just always miss. It has no name. All that fun stuff. Now then... void set enemy attack. Right now we only have one enemy. Goes off its sprites. So, enemy combat skill. Actually, first. Switch. Entity list. Oh, wait, is that not... one second. If that is in top level and it's just floating around in here, it's not going to be in that. You know what? Let's pass it in. There we go. Now we don't need to worry about it. Who cares? Okay, that's normal. And I'm just going to code it in the default for right now. If entity list entity ID dot sprite Sorry, I'm thinking here because I could do some really stupid stuff. Do I feel like doing stupid stuff? Let's do it. We're doing double switches. Technically, there can be more, which is fun, but once again, it makes my sprite sheet an utter mess, and I hate it, but it is what it is. And once again, I hate switch syntax in C++ because it makes no sense to me. I'm going to sneakily do something. And was it combat skill choice 1? As I said, this is very stupid, but I see it getting used a bit. Choice 2 and choice 3. Did you put? Okay, cool. Int rand roll equals rand mod 3 switch roll case 1 entity list index entity index ID. I should just use index dot. It's in here, right? Oh wait, no, I'm not actually setting that. No. Actually, I don't need to bother with that once. Enemy combat skill equals choice 1 break case 2. Enemy combat skill equals choice 2 break. I really did spell them out. Okay. And I can't spell still. As noted. Enemy combat skill equals choice 3. Break. I could probably done weird list stuff. Weird index stuff. Weird other things. I don't care. So this is the wild card. Otherwise, it was standard attack. Oh, wait. Go away, grid. Okay, I did this. This is what I get. Okay. If there were enums, I would prefix the heck out of them. The second one, let's actually take a look, was the wall. Of course, I can't remember its name. Cautious attack, because I truly hate having standard naming schemes. Enemy combat skill equals power attack. We good? We good. Now then. The thing that we currently need is for player to be able to select something and set it up. We're going to go back to heartbeat control because this is where everything is set up. You can go away now. And I need to make a menu that will render the player actions for right now. I can make them like a Pokemon and only have like 8 always set up. I'm going to make them a Pokemon. You can't stop me. Eight. Actually. And because that is a Cons Expert, it's created at runtime, I can use it like this. And so we can have standard. I need to put init in there. My bad. You happy? The compiler's happy. So standard attack, cautious attack. I can't spell. It's defined. Normal. Okay, I want to keep doing this. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are you happy? You're happy? Just for my sanity, I'm also going to have after this is created. I can just do see out. Oh well. Checking player list for int index less than max player action index plus plus. Oh boy, let's see if we blue screen. This is blue screen territory, because I have null variables in there. Oh, that's why. I forgot to populate that. So once again, experimental system. Will it work? Will it be interesting? Will we make playing one character slightly better than playing a party? Awesome. I am seeing the list. I'm seeing, yeah, everything's working out fine. It's all coming up Millhouse. So now that we have that, we can go over here and render combat choice, which will be just like render enemy, and it doesn't happen if like there's no enemy stuff. So void. We can just like exit out of that. However, we also need to have, I know I literally have made a system in the past so I could just easily do this, but I do it every single time and just remake it from scratch because it's so stupidly easy. Int player combat selection. Like, a lot of this stuff isn't hard. What's hard is having an entire system that requires you to have 20 options on the back end just to be able to start doing anything. We're going to put this in the worst place, which is the top left of the screen. For now. Just so I can get it done. For int index. Index is less than max player action. Index plus plus. Okay. If player action list index dot name is null, continue. We don't need you. Otherwise, I'm just checking. So I have it as render text block. I don't think I need to do a full render text block. Is it just let me pop in here for a second, because I know I have one that's just, yeah, just render text. Cool. Okay. Render text. Of course I do it like that. Of course I keep it non-standard. Main render font texture. X is 16, sure. Y is 16 plus 16 times index. And we are passing in player action list index.name. We should also... Oh, thank you for adding all that wonderful extra stuff that I have to delete. Okay, there we go. Okay. So now when we get in combat, it should blue screen, or it should show me a couple lines of text. There we go. We got them in there. I'm also, if index equals player combat selection, else. We can add +8 to this, because I think this is an 8 font. It's hard for me to tell at times, but I think it's an 8 font. We can waste microseconds just slapping together these things. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put that there, plus that. I can make it fancy, because I make it fancy every time where it rotates. By just cycling through some things. I want to clear this. There we go. So we have those attacks. We would probably put them down here. Like, you give a few seconds in and then it actually proceed to this. I know how to do a delay loop in code, which is silly and madness, but it still works. I put it in there, it's like, oh, it approaches you, and then this pops up, or like this can be on the side of the screen, and I can like minimize this to be like smaller, like normal attack, ATK, and it can just go over here and it can like cover this part of the screen. Then I could possibly put like costs underneath or whatever. So we got this. That means we also have a combat situation. So I'm going to put in here combat action, or combat player input. I should also move this out of here at some point so this can become a bit cleaner. Void combat. if main controller dot action is 32 equals 1, or no, up or down. Let's do it down first. This is where the fun happens. For int offset is 0, offset less than player, max player action, offset plus plus. We get into here, which is, it's just going to check. Well, first it's going to do player action select plus plus. Let's do it the C way. Player action list. So what the plus plus does is it increments it before it gets called here. So this increases it by 1. Actually, I shouldn't do that because it could wrap around. Well, actually, yeah. Quit trying to be slick. Mod. Oh, no. Player command select. Sorry. If player action list player combat select dot name does not equal null break. This will ensure that it will always exit, but it will always cycle through it. The only time it won't even make an infinite loop. Like if you only have one action in there, it's just going to circle back around to it, even if it's blank. So, fun. Else if main control dot up random number equals 1. This is just to prevent it from like cycling too fast. Now this one's slightly different. If player combat selection less than 0, player combat selection equals max player action plus player combat selection. Convoluted, but for whatever reason, C++ in its infinite wisdom has negative modules. Don't know where that's useful. Don't know if it is useful. It just is. So we have this. And I go back into here. I prepare to see the blue screen. I'm honestly surprised I haven't blue screen. And there we go. Look, we can go around all day on this. And I'm going to update this on the other end. How do I want to do it? Set enemy attack. Current enemy index. Okay, cool. I'm just trying to think of the architecture of this. So, I guess it's just going to be base effectiveness, and right now we're going to have the player go first. Later, I would like the player to go second, or possibly go second if its speed's too low. Because, like, all the old sort of systems are all... Either way. Alright. Waiting for a second. Right now, I need to... Current player... I didn't name it yet, did I? I thought I named it. Player combat select. Player combat skill. Yep, okay. Combat skill equals... Player action list equals... Current... or player combat selection. Awesome. Now in skills... Tool is effective. And this is going to take in a combat skill, active skill, combat skill, target skill. If active skill dot... Actually, no. Let me think here. The default is false. Switch active skill dot skill type case normal skill type normal attack, standard attack. If target skill dot skill type, I'm literally writing rock paper scissors. Skill type, what I say was caution, defensive attack, return true, return false. You know what? We could simplify this. Return that. So that's going to return a true if that's true, so why bother have the second part? And it's also going to break out, so we don't need to have our case there. Skill type, defensive attack. Oh no, wait, I got that backwards. Normal attacks beat out heavy attack. Target skill dot skill type equals skill type standard attack case skill type power attack return target skill dot skill type equals skill type defensive attack. And cool. Now then, what this also allows, this is our base case. We can have very specific skill matchups before this. Like say we wanted to add in something like Heavy Dragon Slayer or whatever. And I mean, I'd have to pass in the target as well, like what kind of the idea of the enemy. And then I could see like, oh, it's a dragon type, so it technically counts as effective. I don't know if I do the stacking stuff where you can have multiple effectiveness and a multiple resistances. Right now I'm not counting resistance, we only go up. But could be there. Dry skin on thumb. Let's scratch it somewhere. Anyways, so we could put all that junk beforehand. But for the base cases, if you're one of these or one of this. Like, one thing could be like a defensive mage attack or whatever. It's technically a defensive ability, but against magic it actually counts. So if that's specific skill, which I would go off of its name, which I hate to do, and I will probably have to make them into constants up here later, but for right now, I'll swallow it. But anyways, back to this. So, once we have this, int damage, and we probably should also update these to have the attack skill in there, but I'll do that in a second. Int damage equals yeah, we can just carry this over. So this is the player side, so we can use the player skill. Player combat skill dot base power. Oh no, we do need to have. My bad. Then we get is effective. Base damage times equals 2. I think that's right. I can't spell, so I can't tell if it's right. But I get when my hands don't work right. Okay, cool. Then we pass in our base damage. And I'm going to update this so that it has skills involved, and I'm going to put that at the end. Player combat skill. Player combat skill. The fun thing about structs is that they're already pointers. So they kind of just exist everywhere. I don't need to do weird stuff with them. They were combat skills, right? Combat skill. Yep, cool. And we could just do this over here. That's updated. Now we need to do the enemy side, which is going to explode a little bit. Because, of course it is. Okay. Enemy combat skill at base power. If is effective, basically the same thing we're doing down there. Both enemy skill first. Times equals 2. I hope that is really how it is, because I always mess that up. Okay, so this is targeting the player location, and then we can pass in the damage. Now, the damage is wacky right now. And then we pass an enemy combat skill. And then we're not going to bother down there because we're dead. Okay, glory to the blue screen. Let's see if we invoke it. Clear my test stuff over here. Also, I should probably make the slime have more HP. So, this was slime that could do anything. Let's do a power attack. Okay, one second. Let us increase thy slime health. Slime now has 30 health. So we should be able to see it. Slime can also one-shot us. Truly a balanced game. Okay, this is a slime using a power attack. Cautious attack will make it do double damage. Power attack we can meet in the middle. I want to do normal attack, which was doing 8, I think, or no, 10, I think. So it should do 20 damage. Yep, it took 20 damage, and it killed us instantly because, as I said, we don't have enough health, and we don't have a. And also, I don't have it reset after the action. So I should also take care of that while I'm over here. So back in this. Truly. So how did we do that? We do it the same way we add any actor. So where do we have that? Interact with, get cell. We don't do that in here? Pretty sure we spawned it in here. Room. Next level, reset game, and turn, add scroll. Did we not set it in here? Ah, there we go. I'm going to make something and call it void. No, we don't. Okay, so we go into this. And we're going to make a new one. Actually, we're going to make it up here. Void random enemy state and entity. And then we just do a little bit of RNG. Later ones we might have to do a little more work because, as I said, technically I can have infinite states. For like boss battles, I can have an entire screen of stuff and it can do whatever the heck I want it to. But right now we have one enemy. I don't care too much to try and figure it out, but technically we don't die when we die, and we can still keep going because I don't have. Even if the enemy's dead, it doesn't matter. We just reset what it looks like for a second. Maybe it'll show up on the screen for one frame and we have to figure this out, but. Okay, that's a normal attack, so we can cautious attack it for like 10 damage. Okay, it killed us because normal attacks deal just the same amount of health. And it changed over to heavy attack, which means we can normal attack it. And that killed it because that did 10 damage. But because it had normal attack is powerful against heavy attacks, it did 20. So we did 30 on the dot. This reads to me as a money symbol. But anyways. So system working. Oh, that's a design flaw. So when I hit A, it instantly kills it. it tries to go through the door immediately after. I don't care enough right now. I just want to see these cycle. So I should probably pick cautious attack every time. So it randomizes. Hasn't exploded yet. I mean, like, we're dead. But that's because, like, I have no balance put into the system. I just have vibes and no accounting for player survivability. The enemies are more balanced than the player is right now. And they're balanced against the player attacks, not killing the player. So, what I'm thinking on going on with this system is that there will be other effects, like a cautious attack that can stun the enemy if it's doing a normal attack, or like smash can stun, that has a chance for stunning the enemy when it's using a cautious. And due to the system, you can't really pop that off every turn. And later enemies, I want to have some ambiguity to them, where some states could have them using one attack type or another, based on the sprite it puts up. So then you're running number games on if you want to go for trying to stun them, or maybe even you learn I had in my head what to call it, but it was effectively the very boring attack that cannot be exploited and cannot exploit, and run that to get through. But that's my grand idea of the game. And like you level up and I guess you get to pick, or you get to go up to the surface to train in new skills, because you can equipment grind, but your base attacks are free upgrades and get to do more. Also, I don't know if you should always have like the 3 basic attacks and like some other ones. I put it at 8 right now. That means you only get 5 other attacks that can be specialized or magic or whatever. Or I could go full SMT and make them like passives as well. Power attack boost. Which, I mean, could be neat. Like, I don't want to, like, build this game around making builds and then remaking your build to go down to the next enemy. That might be funny, though. Like, I could literally have, like, a goddess or something, like, chew you out every time you die and, like, spoon feed you, like, what you should have done. Or, like, you haven't gone this yet, it's on this level, just go get it. I want you to beat this dungeon. Please, I'm getting tired of this. Have I ever seen that in a game? Where you have game overs from, like, some omnipotent entity that's just really tired of you screwing up, but they don't have a choice. I know in, like, one of the Final Fantasy Adventure, which is, like, I think a Saga game, honestly. It was revealed that, like, your patron that kept bringing you back to life was using you as a pawn. And I think once he turns on you, because, you know, it's a JRPG. Once it turned on you, if you died, you didn't get to reload your save. Or something like that. Because he's not going to bring you back. You've already done your job. But anyways, I'm just noodling because I am about an hour and a half into this, and technically everything I want to add is done. And I kind of hate how fast that went. I could go on looks, but looks and upgrading look and feel takes forever and is boring as crap to watch. Not that this is any better. I am the third monitor guy, after all. So, humma humma. I made more roguelikes. I could get a roguelike online faster than I could get most JRPG stuff. Do. So one thing I would have to do is start taking a look at what the heck our entities are. So right now, I don't think I have any stats. Yeah, all of this is just the minimum viable because, like, it has... Technically, this is our AI. And this is just, like, where it's on there. The rest of this just comes through as, like, this is where I could get stats from. But this is mostly how I set up everything and, like, would have a lookup table for, like, EXP to give, maybe, kind of, sort of. This is roguelike. Most basic would be to, like, add attack and defense. Enemies wouldn't have armor, players would have armor, and that gets into the debate of how the heck armor and attack is supposed to work. Old school Dragon Quest is armor or equipment or like weapon damage divide by 2, and that's like actually what it does. I forgot if it was like that for Vitality. Let me look up the olden Dragon Quest formula. And I don't want to have the new one. Because there is a re-release. That's a completely different beast. Jesus, is the new one a completely different beast. I watched somebody play a bit of it too, and it's you fight multiple enemies. Like, when it says you're the hero, you are basically Doom Guy against demons. Encounters. This guy is literally going through the assembly code, so he knows what he's doing. Oh yeah, old Dragon Quest enemies used to spawn their HP in a range. Because I think it's effectively how attack and damage works is that your base strength stat plus half your attack things. But I could be wrong, and it might be just divide 2 overall. Do you have a table of contents? Combat. Yeah, sure. Section C. Combat. Agility, sleep, strength is figured out. Yeah, I kind of get that. Okay. So it's enemy... Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm looking here. It's just the entirety of defense divided by 2. Actually, it's kind of... Okay, it's kind of weird. So you have enemy strength minus the hero's defense divided by 2, divided by 4 for the low range, and up to half that for the high range. So effectively, half enemy strength minus a quarter of enemy defense for normal attacks. Yeah, something close to that kind of. Hero attack minus enemy, minus enemy agility divided by 2. Yeah, so it was always the defense divided by 2. It wasn't the attack divided by 2. That was the way that it scaled it, so that it could give you a weapon with attack strength 5 and a shield with attack strength 5. But you aren't nulling out damage. You're on a treadmill so that your defense is always behind. And it gets more obvious as it goes along because you get more HP and the damage numbers are higher. And that's the treadmill of old Dragon Quest. I think it got fancier later. And we all know that Final Fantasy and SMT games are unironically batshit in how they calculate basic damage ranges. I'll take Dragon Quest, or unironically the Morgborgs, over the true JRP formulas any day of the week. If you need square roots and logarithms in it, you've gone a bit too much into the sauce. But anyways, okay. I'll probably... because I need to eat dinner and all that, and I don't want to get too far into this. But, things for later. The player will have its own internal HP, or internal stuff. So, let's get this in here. Once again, get the ends with this. I should put this on the end. I should put these on the end. Let's do it. It's going to break everything. Int defense or attack. Int defense. Int agility. So everything's broken now. Why do I say that? Because I have this. So you go down here. One, 2, 3. It's happy now. The terror of me of remembering how to do that. Now, set entity. Okay, cool. I don't have to do anything because this sets up a default entity. And then it'd be over here that I set stuff up so that I can put all the stats into here. Also, what I would need to do is for the player side to have what your current equipment is and also derive that into there, which is the true reason why I have this formula separated from the other formula, because the enemies don't have equipment. The enemies are hard-coded. I don't need to put equipment on them. It could be fun. I've done that before. Does it really add anything in this case? No. However, in this case, I'm going to have to create a get player attack and get player defense and get player agility and bring these in here and work with it. And I'm not sure if I should do static agility like all the games do nowadays, or if I should have, standard initiative where every round you roll your number and add in your agility to that, and then you get to compete. So pretty much stuff within the dice range of agility kind of have a range they get to play with. Like Pokemon uses the static agility static initiative system. A lot of D&D likes at least use the first roll will set up the initiative order, And I can't think of any that does it between turns, but I'm sure it exists out there. Then there's weird games like SMT, which have an initiative order in phase-based combat. And the initiative order is so that your faster character goes first and can benefit from the push system, which is weird and wondrous. That said, you can screw around in like past turns anyways, but that interferes with the push system, so... Huma Huma. FOV. I still find it amazing I put the FOV and everything. I could get rid of it for this, because it doesn't matter. This game has auto inbuilt FOV. Just look at it. Behold your field of vision. Now, actually, can I... I can't tell. Let me see. Cool. It does record where my mouse is on here. So this is set and not changing. I could put like a mini map down here that is like just, you know, like colored pixel by pixel going through, and that's relatively easy to code together. I should probably restrict maps to be like powers of 2, so like 8, 16, 32. And this would be basically like a sprite in the corner. And I just give like where you are by blinking that, and give the direct all around you spaces, like the not just the cardinal ones. Even though you can see down this hallway, I wouldn't give all the way down the hallway. I mean, I could, but... And then, you know, have door tiles be a different color. That'd be old school and fun. And I could also put the floor down here and say what number you're on. One sec. I'm going to give the player more HP. Already bloating my HP. The game's ruined. Never going to get better. 100. Sure. $100 is a good number. It'll probably become like 80 later. That said, how am I going to do a proper dungeon crawling aspect if we're trading such high blows? I've seen some games like you can recover at the end of the battle, like some of the HP you took, you recover all of it. I find that a weird system, but it's interesting, and then like they add a stamina system to it, where like every step you take costs stamina, and then like when you get damaged, it heals up, but it eats your stamina. And once you run out of stamina, you run out of HP regen. That could be neat. And you can't tap into it in the middle of battle, but it keeps you going. I could just make it grindy as heck and have you have a bunch of potions. That'd be terrible, but it's a thing that can be done. Also, I need to set it up so that we have sprite sheets for backgrounds of like what tiles to use. That said, my current sprite sheet is horrible and useless. Because the more I add to it, the more of a star chart it becomes. And what I mean by that is it becomes very big, and zoomed out it just becomes like dots you can't understand. So, polish, which wouldn't happen in this phase, is that you get little noises on there. They're like, what was it for roguelikes? Because yeah, metabolism is insane. Like, I remember the best description of roguelikes is that you're a hummingbird with diabetes. that any hero you put into the dungeon is like a hummingbird with diabetes, because you're just you can't go 5 minutes without eating a full course meal, and you're still dying. Like, I know Sheeran the Wanderer had a stomach system. Like, you couldn't just shovel down food. You had to move like 100 tiles before you eat another hamburger. Yeah. Like, some of it is hand-waved that it's like every step you can assume is like 5 minutes or something passing, or 10 minutes. I mean, you played Monster Hunter. You know the metabolism those monsters have, and I'm not talking about the lizards. Those you can kind of understand as they do acrobatic maneuvers and wield swords bigger than them and chase down and climb up on them. Yeah, but they eat in the middle of battle too, or they can. They pull out the rotisserie and they roast up a whole chicken mid-battle in order to dodge an attack. But, yeah. Rise is the weird one. But anyways. They are... But most roguelikes and most dungeon crawlers... Yeah, they kind of like make food be this strange magical resource. Because nobody can eat that much food and carry on. Even if you were like fighting monsters and doing all this stuff, you can only process so much food at a time. Like, healing potions make more sense, but Japan mostly. For the most part, Japan loves having, like, you eat food for status effects and then go into the dungeon. You kind of see it in the West. Rarely. Like, Morrowind is notorious for cheeses being used in potions. But even then, I don't think you eat the cheese. But, yeah, okay. So, I'm going to be trying to do this on Thursday. Same time, same place. Same possible 2-hour time span, because I just want to keep doing this a little bit. But, let's see. I think I'll try and get equipment into this. Maybe actually get an equip screen. And maybe we could actually put in some, like, you know, chests. So, like, there's a chest here, and we'll have, like, a little chest sprite that's in the middle here, and you get an A to open it up. Because technically, you're in the middle of this tile, and it extends to, like, down here is the edge, because you're standing directly in the middle of it. That's the way I have this perspective set up, so that I can cheat at sprites and do everything. And you can open a chest, and we can have equipment bullshit, which is terrible and awful, but given that I kludged together this horrible code, which I can, like... Let's do something stupid. Where's the skills? There's skills. Ultimate attack. And it will be ultimate attack. It will do 999. It will have an accuracy of 999. It'll have a cost of 0. No property flag. Skill type. Classless. And here, like, We don't have anything on, you know, you winning. Oh, I don't have anything, because it's set up elsewhere. So let's go in top header. I'm going to throw this way at the top. Bool skill exists in player skill. Skill. Combat. I fight. For int index blah index less than max player action index plus plus if skill.name equals player action list index.name return true, return false. This will be very useful later. It's like, hey, you want to learn skill? You already know that one. You can't learn it again. So if we win a battle, we get the ultimate skill for no reason. Whoop. No, this should be not. Ultimate attack. Like, technically we should have, like, battle over and you gain EXP, and EXP can be calculated through other things, but anyways. I should probably also have just a standard add skill. I'll need to do more later for actually, you know, working with it. Like, what skill do you want to replace? Okay, if player action list index.name equals empty, player action list index equals skill, return. So it won't overwrite a skill that exists, but it'll just overwrite one that's empty. The last one in there. So we do that. Ultimate attack. We have made a truly balanced game that should be loved for the ages. We learned the ultimate skill. Look, it's the ultimate skill. And because we go first, unerringly, we could kill everything. Now then, one other thing I did kind of want for the game is also to have like counters. Like I talked about, like you'd be able to stun the opponent if they had it. So if you went first, you got to stun them out of their turn. If you went second, you got to stun them out of their next turn. The counter ones were basically like they will stun you if they're using that skill, or they will like just nullify that skill, which is slightly different and would require more coding, but it could be in there. Then also I can add a magic that, you know, counters power attacks because silliness. Or like defensive attacks. But yeah. Other things that I think should be added to this. We need to have an above ground town menu of some sort. No dungeon crawl is complete without having to figure out a way to get back up to the top. So, you know, we get to have warp crystals or bizarre mechanisms to traverse the dungeon. You know, crystals, sigils on the floor. My favorite in Diablo 1. So, I'm trying to think of what the things were. There might have only been this one option, but in Diablo 1, you went down through like a temple or graveyard or crypt or whatever because it's expansive. But once you got to hell, there was a crack opening to hell that opened up to the surface that you could traverse through to skip like the 20 levels. So you didn't have to go through them again. And it activated once you got that far. It probably fit in more with Diablo 1's original idea. The stars chart or whatever. Originally, Diablo 1 was supposed to be timed. Like, you had to kill Diablo. I think it went... This quest activated once you got to, like, the church or whatever. And, like, something with the stars. And, like, you got a cinematic and, like... You had like so many hours to go, or like an hour or so to get down and kill Diablo. And if you didn't, the game didn't end. You just got another cutscene, and Diablo got buffed. Like he basically became invincible for like a normal player that didn't grind for a million hours. Like I'm not even sure if you could do that in Diablo 1. Diablo 2, I know. Well, I think you could cheese your way. Diablo 2. When you exit the game and come back in, everything respawns. In Diablo 1, I think things stayed dead. But you could go in and delete your DAT file for that. And it'll be going like, it doesn't care what else is going on. It's going to go like, oh, okay, we need to regenerate this floor for you. Diablo 2, you could do that to regenerate the actual floor. Because Diablo 2 worked like a... what family? Adam. I think Adam would be the one for that. Where all its dungeons are generated and they don't change between, like, re-entering them. The bands, they change every floor. And Diablo 1 wanted to be a band for a bit. Like, it even says in its document, every time you go into a floor, it generates it on the spot. There's no like, saving or anything. Then they just kind of saved it. And it went from the Star Band for Angband family into Adam, which is Ancient Domains of Mystery, which tended to save its layouts after you generate them. Which means theoretically you could cheat and look at everything in that dungeon, but you could always cheat and look at everything in that dungeon with a memory viewer. As long as you could process it, you get map hacks for free. That was always the thing. Wait, I actually killed it in one hit? Oh wait, it was a power attack. Of course I killed it if it was being defensive. But yeah, next thing to add is... I guess also mischance, because I have that baked in. And that'll make the game. One thing on that, because I remember this now. So you know Advance Wars. I'm bringing up my thing. There is technically a triangle in Advance Wars. That is... I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I'm basically done, so I'm doing whatever. You have your standard tank, which should be the backbone of your army. However, there is a helicopter, which will just destroy your tanks. But you can also make anti-aircraft, which destroys helicopters, but is easily destroyed by tanks. That said, there is an actual cost difference between all of these, and this is kind of where I have the idea. Tanks are your standard unit of currency. A helicopter costs a lot more than one tank. This, however, costs less than a tank. So you could theoretically spawn, like, let's say, 3 of these and still body block a tank. Whereas, like, you would like be able to make 2 of these and only make 1 of this. This will just tear through these tanks. However, like, 1 anti-aircraft will just take this out, and 1 tank will slowly go through, because it can only destroy 1 a turn, the anti-aircraft. So it's technically leaning in favor of just making tanks, or just making helicopters and then countering with anti-aircraft. However, you could try and predict them making helicopters and sneak out your anti-aircraft, because really, you don't lose too much by just making 1. If you try to hard counter and like completely dominate the airspace, you just get run over by tanks. But anyways, that's my thought in like the actual base attacks not being elemental sticks of their effective type. Because yeah, maybe you do want to risk taking double damage from a normal attack to kill the enemy that turn, regardless of what sort of thing it chooses, until the late game when they start having, you know, like counter stuff that stops that sort of idea, and you have to like actually memorize what that attack is, what that sprite looks like it's going to do, and what that enemy does. Or you try to match it with like a skill that it won't counter on. That'd be interesting if like the counter attacks don't do anything if it isn't that type. But anyways, that's where I'm at. I almost hit 2 hours. I should have stretched. I need to consume food. And I might need to do some stuff, depending if people send me files. Exciting times for the Scribble in the Moonlight. Anyways, that's the stream today. Not tomorrow. Thursday, I will continue on with this and add the equipment in and, you know, maybe basic items on the floor. Just a quick little thing. And then Saturday, I don't know yet. I might know by Wednesday or Thursday, but like always, I don't decide at the start of the week. It's just whatever I feel like. You know, I could break out a Fallout solo system, but I want to have the physical book before I do that. Should be on its way. But yes, anyways, thank you for coming. I will open up the loading chill screen. Today didn't have many beautiful pixels, but I assure you, I do well on pixeling my art. And if you would like to have some pixelated art, or more likely, pixelated VTuber models that are actually rigged, I could do that. And maybe in the future I will do other things. But I have some sizes of sprites or a full-size model, as well as just pixel art. Or low-res art if you want me to not make sprites on an image. Anyways, that, I'll leave you to the rest of your day, and I will head out. See you next time. Da, 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 da.